this video, I'm going to try my best to shed some light on the ways in which anti-camping ordinances will actually worsen the already dire situation we're facing with homelessness. Anti-camping ordinances implemented by many cities have been a subject of intense debate when it comes to their effectiveness in tackling homelessness. While proponents will argue that such measures ensure public safety and hygiene, it's really important to recognize the adverse consequences that these ordinances will have on the homeless population and the housed population as well. We're all connected here. I'm especially troubled by the use of public health language to actually justify punitive legislation that would prohibit people who are experiencing homelessness from seeking shelter on city property. As a nurse, I want my community to be the healthiest it can be, and I want to provide knowledge on things that I research so that you can have that information and make decisions regarding what you believe in and what you want your community to look like. I want Bremerton to be known as the healthiest city in Washington State. Now, that might seem funny to some of you, but I thought it was kind of funny when I was awarded Washington State Woman of the Year by USA Today this year. So these things can happen. We might feel small, we might feel insignificant, but if we use our voices and we work together in very evidence-based ways that we know will help people and less punitive punishment type ways, then we can make the community better for all of us. So I hope that you watch this video and learn a little bit more so that you can stand up for the very most vulnerable people in our community that matter to me just as much as you do. All right, here we go. By criminalizing the act of camping, which means sitting anywhere for an extended period of time on public property, anti-camping ordinances push homeless individuals further into the margins of society. By subjecting them to fines, arrest, and potential criminal records merely for trying to survive is not only inhumane, but also perpetuates the cycle of homelessness. Instead of addressing the root causes of homelessness, these ordinances exacerbate the vulnerability of unhoused individuals, making it even that much more challenging for them to access services and find stable housing. Anti-camping ordinances often result in the displacement of homeless individuals from public spaces where they are more visible and move them to more hidden or unsafe areas. This particular displacement makes it exceedingly difficult for outreach workers like ourselves and service providers like ourselves to locate and assist them effectively. Consequently, the homeless population becomes more isolated, disconnected from support networks, and less likely to access the resources necessary for actually being able to escape homelessness. By criminalizing camping, these anti-camping ordinances actually make it harder for people who live outside to get essential services. These particular ordinances highly discourage unhoused individuals from seeking assistance, as they will fear arrest or harassment. The punitive nature of these measures really discourages people from utilizing existing resources, which then exacerbates their obvious marginalization and ends up prolonging their homelessness instead. Rather than that, cities should be encouraged to focus on providing affordable housing and other safe and accessible alternatives, such as designated camping areas or temporary shelters where individuals can access supportive services instead of having to hide from them for fear of things such as this: criminalization, harassment, and arrest. Anti-camping ordinances often divert attention and resources from long-term solutions to homelessness. Rather than investing in affordable housing, mental health care services, addiction treatment, and job training programs, cities deploy resources to enforce anti-camping ordinances. This misguided allocation of resources only perpetuates the cycle of homelessness rather than addressing its underlying causes. The following video clips that I'm including are from the recent Bremerton City Council study session on June 29, 2023. I encourage you to watch the session in its entirety, and I will definitely provide a link in the description of this video so you can do that.
And however, specify certain areas as being no camping anytime, or you could do a time restriction because the Ninth Circuit focused on the act of sleeping, not just, I guess, free from the Eighth Amendment restraint. The city then prosecuted that person. Their lack of competency could then be an issue in the criminal prosecution that would result in a dismissal.
First offense is there's no mandatory minimum penalty, but as it goes on to a second, third, and subsequent offense, it looks like there's a little bit of mandatory jail time as well as mandatory fines.
So at the study session, there were several different ordinances listed in the agenda and in the packet provided online if you want to look into it, about other jurisdictions and their anti-camping ordinances and bans on camping for our most vulnerable who have nowhere else to go, and finding those loopholes around higher courts judgments. And so looking into the research here of certain jurisdictions such as Tacoma, who have been months into these ordinances taking effect, and all I see is outreach workers, healthcare workers saying that once this ban went into effect, the people who their clients are responding with an increased amount of distrust, and they're much harder to find, and they're getting sicker out there and not accessing services that are even available due to this distrust, because of these sweeps or because of these ordinances that criminalize the very act of being human and without a home or have other medical issues. These are medical issues that we are criminalizing, which is why I am so passionate about speaking up for these people. So again, all of these things that they're talking about, criminalizing this and, having people pay fines or go to jail, it just seems like it's not working in other cities in regard to actually helping the homelessness issue. It's actually making the crisis worse, and which will make it much harder for us to actually solve. In the past, Bremerton City Council member Michael Goodnow has said, and I'll read some quotes, that he will work to ensure that increased density in our community is balanced with affordable and low income housing, and that he would, quote, implement long-term growth plans with smart growth policies that lift everyone up. And he actually pledged on behalf of the council that they would all move forward with a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. However, his statements regarding the unhoused are anything but equitable. In this next statement that I made a video clip of, you can just see for yourself how incredibly short-sighted, opinionated he is, and how he's spreading absolutely false information.
Bremerton's not the only place that's struggling with this, right? Like, this is not something that we've sort of dropped the ball on or something. This is something that is rampant in a lot of communities, and more so in the communities that care about homeless, unhoused folks.
So I feel like a broken record, but the squeaky wheel generally gets the grease, and hopefully that's true in our case. But I've talked about this book quite a lot, and I've talked to the council members about it. One of the authors, Greg Colburn, he is an assistant professor at the University of Washington in the Department of Real Estate. And this book he published in 2022, and it's called Homelessness is a Housing Problem. And it focuses on the role of housing in relation to the homelessness crisis that we're seeing. He wrote the book with another man, the name, you see it? Oh, there it is, Clayton Page Aldrin. And Clayton is a data scientist and a policy analyst in the Seattle area. And they found, and you can read it in the book, that this idea that the generous people or kind people or benefits that assist the homeless, they found that there's absolutely no correlation to those people or those policies or those benefits causing or increasing the homeless crisis. Made very clear that is not correlated at all, like the council members stated in that video clip. He stated that they did not, after a thorough investigation, research, scientific analysis of data, all of these analytics at a PhD university level, they found that they did not see a disproportionate permeability of people moving here just so they can experience homelessness and like hang out with how nice we are on our days off and like give them stuff. So there's abundant research to support that. And so I feel like we should take our what we learn from people who are educators at a PhD level, university level, rather than city council members who have strong opinions and biases, and make it very clear that they are being anything but inclusive and equitable. And just food for thought. Read this book, people. Read this book. Learn. It's going to help our community get better and not worse. It's really hard to watch us go down this pathway towards getting worse when it's been proven and spoken by so many intelligent people who've done their homework about this. So, in conclusion, anti-campaigning ordinances do not contribute to ending homelessness. Instead, they intensify the challenges faced by unhoused individuals. Criminalizing camping further marginalizes and stigmatizes these individuals, which hinders their access to services and perpetuates their vulnerability. To effectively address homelessness, it is crucial for cities to adopt comprehensive, compassionate, and evidence-based approaches that prioritize affordable housing, supportive services, and alternatives to criminalization. By doing so, we can work towards ending homelessness and fostering a much more inclusive society for all of us. With that, I leave a statement made by Councilwoman Anna Mockler at this past Bremerton City Council study session.
I can't believe that we've been talking about this for years, and we have no mechanism to offer even an unused field or parcel and a simple portisan to people who have nowhere to live.